They say wealth builds empires, but kindness builds legacy. In a world where social status often overshadows humanity, one cold encounter between a millionaire woman and a struggling delivery girl would uncover the raw difference between pride and grace. What began as a simple pastry delivery turned into a life-changing lesson the rich woman never saw coming. You're watching Storytelling and Beyond, where real emotions speak louder than wealth, and every story touches the soul. The sky had darkened with angry gray clouds as Maya pedaled her worn-out bicycle through the winding streets of the wealthiest neighborhood in Los Angeles. Rain began falling in steady sheets, soaking through her thin jacket, clinging to her skin. She wiped her foggy glasses with the sleeve of her hoodie, squinting up at the mansion looming ahead, LeGrand Estate. Her hands trembled slightly from the cold, but she secured the delicate dessert box inside her delivery bag and rang the massive brass bell outside the tall black gates. Static crackled through the intercom before a sharp female voice cut through the silence. "Who is this?" Maya steadied her voice. "Hi, it's Maya. I have a delivery for Mrs. Clarissa Legrand. Gourmet French pastries from Maison Dior." There was a pause, followed by a dismissive scoff. "Leave it at the gate. You people don't need to be near the front door." The intercom clicked off before Maya could ask for a signature confirmation. She waited, unsure. Company policy required customer sign-off for high-value deliveries, and without it, she risked getting penalized or worse, having to pay for it herself. With a hesitant breath, she pressed the bell again. After a minute, the gates creaked open. Out stepped a woman in her mid-40s, tall and sleek in a tailored cream trench coat. Her stilettos clicked on the pavement as she approached, umbrella in one hand, diamond phone in the other. Clarissa Legrand's face twisted in mild disgust when her eyes landed on Maya, drenched, trembling, water dripping from her chin. Maya held out the box carefully. "I'm really sorry, ma'am. I just needed a signature." Clarissa took the box with 2 fingers, as if touching something distasteful. She looked Maya up and down with a sneer that curled the corners of her lips. "Maybe one day you'll deliver something useful." "Like ambition," she said with an icy smirk, turning her back without another word. Maya stood frozen for a moment, cheeks burning from humiliation more than the cold. She turned slowly, pushing her bike back into the rain. She didn't know that the security camera overhead had captured every second of what just happened. And she couldn't possibly imagine that the world was about to see it too. Rain continued to fall as Maya pedaled down the slick street, her clothes soaked through and eyes blurry with tears. She tried to steady her breathing, telling herself it was just another bad delivery. Just another rude customer. But Clarissa's words echoed louder than thunder. "Maybe one day you'll deliver something useful." It wasn't just a jab, it was a punch to her spirit. She didn't have the luxury to break down. Not when her 6-year-old brother Liam was waiting at home with a cough, and she hadn't yet earned enough for his prescription. Back at their cramped studio apartment above a noisy laundromat, Maya changed into dry clothes and set a kettle to boil. Liam peeked out from under a worn blanket on the couch, his small face pale but smiling. "Did you bring the pastries, Maya?" he asked, ever hopeful. She forced a smile and shook her head. "Not today, buddy. But I did promise you chicken soup, didn't I?" As she stirred the pot, Maya's phone buzzed with a flood of notifications. Confused, she picked it up. Dozens of messages, tags, and alerts blinked across the screen. People from her neighborhood, even strangers, were sending her a video. Her hands shook as she tapped it open. It was security footage, her encounter at LeGrand Estate. The entire humiliating exchange. But it wasn't just the footage that left her stunned, it was how someone had captioned it. "Millionaire mocks poor delivery girl, her words will break you." Thousands of views. Tens of thousands. The comments poured in. Heartless. She didn't deserve that. This poor girl deserves better. Who is she? Let's help her out. Maya's eyes widened in disbelief. She had never gone viral. She had never been noticed. And now, strangers were offering donations, reposting the video, even tagging celebrities to help. A local influencer had shared her Cash App handle, and messages like "This is for your brother's meds," and "Don't give up, Maya flooded her inbox. Liam looked up, confused. "Why are people giving us money?" Maya knelt beside him, tears welling up in her eyes for a different reason now. "Because, sweetheart, sometimes, kindness comes from the most unexpected places." What neither of them knew was that somewhere across town, in her opulent estate, Clarissa Legrand's phone began ringing, and her publicist's voice on the other end carried a panicked urgency she wasn't used to hearing. Clarissa sat at her grand mahogany vanity, the morning light filtering through sheer curtains that danced with the breeze. Her makeup brush froze mid-stroke as her phone buzzed again. Another email. Another notification. Another headline. She sighed and opened the latest one. Cold-hearted heiress humiliates struggling delivery girl, public demands accountability. The article had screenshots of the viral video, a brief bio of Maya, and comments pouring in from around the world. Clarissa scrolled through with growing unease. She had never cared much for public opinion. Until now. Her brand, her business, and even her invitations to elite social galas were built on the illusion of elegance, grace, and philanthropy. Now, she was being painted as the villain in a modern-day fairy tale gone wrong. Her phone rang. Vivian, her publicist. Clarissa braced herself. "Clarissa," Vivian snapped, "this is spiraling out of control. Your image is burning, and so is the brand. Do you even realize the optics? You, a millionaire, shaming a working-class girl in public on camera? You have to fix this. Today." Clarissa's voice was low, defensive. It wasn't meant to go that far. She was late, sloppy, and disrespectful. No one cares. People aren't siding with you. They see a girl who's trying to feed her brother and a woman with a mansion belittling her for being poor. Vivian took a breath. You either do something now, or you'll be remembered not for your empire, but for your arrogance. Later that afternoon, Clarissa stood alone in her marbled kitchen, staring out the window. A woman who had always controlled the narrative now watched it unravel without mercy. She replayed the scene in her mind, the way Maya had looked, exhausted, wet from the rain, holding her head high even after being insulted. Clarissa had seen that kind of strength before, in her own mother, decades ago, before the wealth and the branding and the walls that separated her from the real world. An idea stirred. Not PR. Not damage control. But something real. She called her driver. "I need to visit someone. A girl. She lives in Midtown. I'll text you the address." And for the first time in years, Clarissa Legrand stepped into a world she had long forgotten, a world where kindness mattered more than status, and where one act of compassion might still have the power to change everything. Clarissa stood at the threshold of Maya's modest apartment, a basket of groceries in one hand and a folded envelope in the other. She hadn't sent an assistant, hadn't called ahead. She came alone, dressed simply, her designer heels replaced by flats she hadn't worn in years. This wasn't a photo op. This was something she had to do herself. When Maya opened the door, surprise flickered across her face, quickly replaced by guarded skepticism. "Ms. Legrand," her voice was cautious, tired. Clarissa extended the basket. "I came to apologize. Not with words, but with understanding. I watched that video again, and I saw more than just my actions. I saw myself, years ago. And I was ashamed." Maya didn't speak at first. Her younger brother peeked from behind her, his wide eyes curious and innocent. Clarissa crouched slightly and smiled at him. "Hey, champ. I brought your favorite cookies. Chocolate chip, right?" The boy nodded slowly, then looked at Maya for approval. Maya finally stepped aside, allowing Clarissa inside. They sat at the tiny kitchen table. It was nothing like Clarissa's sprawling dining room, but the warmth and the small space wrapped around her like a blanket she hadn't known she missed. Clarissa placed the envelope on the table. "Inside is a scholarship fund, in your name, for girls like you. And a job offer. Marketing assistant, remote, with full benefits. I saw the way you spoke up, stood tall. That's the kind of strength I want in my company." Maya's eyes welled up. "Why me?" Clarissa looked her in the eye. Because once, someone gave me a chance when I didn't deserve it. And I've forgotten what that meant. You reminded me. Thank you. The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable. It was full of understanding, of redemption, of two women from different worlds meeting at the crossroads of compassion. Clarissa left that evening lighter, not because she'd fixed her public image, but because she had finally faced herself. And chosen better. Back in her car, she didn't check her phone, didn't call her publicist. She looked out the window, thoughtful. Change didn't come from tweets or press releases. It came from courage. And Maya had taught her that. This story was brought to you by Storytelling and Beyond, where every tale reminds us that kindness, dignity, and a single act of humanity can change lives. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.